By now, you've probably at least heard the name Cyberpunk 2077. It's the next game by acclaimed developer CD Projekt Red, a Poland-based studio best known for the Witcher series. Witcher 3, the most recent release by the company, set a new precedent for quality, innovation, and consumer-friendly practices when it released back in 2016, and Cyberpunk 2077 stands to do the same as we prepare for the next generation of consoles. However, there are some changes CD Projekt Red are making to the formula that have caused Cyberpunk 2077 to receive backlash from the gaming community. Today, I want to settle all those fears surrounding the new changes and explain why what CD Projekt Red is doing with 2077 is going to be better than we can imagine. Also, if you like this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see new videos or live streams that I do every single day, and join the incredible community we've created here. Let's jump right into one of the most controversial changes. While the Witcher series was third person, Cyberpunk 2077 is primarily a first person shooter. Now I get it, Witcher 3 is one of my all-time favorite games, and it being third person played a huge part in that. Being able to see your character, change their clothing, gear, and weapons, and being able to always see them, the complexity of third person combat, and dialogue scenes are all boosted by being able to see your character. First person and third person perspectives are very different. However, certain things about 2077 are built in a way that will only be effective in first person and would literally be impossible to do well in third person. CD Projekt Red's statement on the change to first person is that they wanted to build the game to be more immersive. Yet what I noticed about the game are a few design decisions around the world building, level design, and overall aesthetic that make the first person change make total sense. The first is the way the game world is designed. The Witcher 3 was very flat, with little to no verticality. At any given time, you could spin the camera in a 360-degree circle and see in all directions to the horizon, or a side would be obscured by a small hill or some building. However, even in the cities, the buildings you went into were limited to basic floor plans with 1 or 2 stories. This is because third-person games, due to their camera angles, combat mechanics, and character movement, are really difficult to put into smaller, denser spaces with multiple little areas, changing from buildings to outside spaces, and having dense, narrow corridors. I'm sure all of us have played a third-person game where when the character walks around a corner or enters a room, the camera glitches against a wall or gets stuck and you can't see your character. Now, Night City, the location where Cyberpunk 2077 takes place, is built with density and verticality in mind. You will be exploring hundreds of buildings, entering small, narrow alleyways, moving through a variety of room designs back to back, and more. Suddenly, you see a world built in a way that only a first-person perspective can work well in. With the first-person character view, you are almost always the same size and can only stand, crouch, jump, and sometimes go prone. This means as long as your character can move through a level in one of those positions, the design doesn't really matter. A tiny room, a vast lobby, a building's multi-level staircase, houses, alleyways, a bustling city street, a shop, all of it is easily accessible and requires little mechanical change to work in a first-person perspective. However, it could take long periods of time to program code that allows a camera to dynamically move to show your character in all of those situations in third person. I honestly think this is one of the biggest motivations for the perspective change. To build a dense, varied city with massive buildings and hundreds of different types of locations, the only perspective that works is first person. But there's more. Another benefit to first person perspective is a real appreciation for the world around you. If you would indulge me, close your eyes and imagine a first person view. You're walking down a dark, dirty street. It's lit up on the right side by a bright pink neon sign hanging from a building whose light is reflected by a small puddle of water on the ground. You see the potholes in the old road, cracks along the sides of the building, and a rat scurries from one side to the other. Pieces of dirty, crumpled newspaper and poster occasionally float by with light wind. You see a window ahead of you with the curtain swaying back and forth through the opening, and the light spilling out into the street. 2 people are standing together talking on the left at the end of the alleyway, and they continue to look at you and whisper. You look up and see a couple of stars in the small patch of sky you can see between the towering roofs of the buildings around you. Now, try to imagine the same scene in a third-person view like The Witcher. Put Geralt with his same perspective into the same picture. Can you do it? Yes. The thing is, it suddenly takes you out of the experience and puts someone else there. It also pulls you away from the detail and prevents you from doing things like looking up right at the sky and seeing the size of the building. You may not really see the curtain in the distance, and depending on that same distance as well as the lighting, you may not even be able to see that there are people at the end of the alley. The point I'm trying to get at is, first person is a more immersive experience when it comes to environment and aesthetic. If you see someone get brutally killed right in front of your eyes, there is much more view of the detail, the horror, and the graphicness of the death. If you're watching a character who is watching someone getting killed right in front of them, you may not even see it because the character's body might be in the way. But for real though, if you do, you won't feel as up close and personal to the event. CD Projekt Red is building a world that I believe couldn't be fully realized, and much of it wouldn't even work if it was not first person. But there is much more than just atmosphere. Many aspects of the gameplay itself are dependent on the perspective. If you have played the recent Deus Ex games, you know that while they're technically first-person shooters, they're very dynamic in terms of combat, gameplay mechanics, and how you play the game. Cyberpunk 2077 is the same way, and even the shooting itself is different from many games we've seen previously. One of the mechanics that was shown at the behind closed door demo at E3 2018 was a ricochet bullet mechanic. With this, you can use your bot companion to scan the environment and mark enemies. After doing this, if an enemy goes behind cover, you can use the ricochet mechanic to bounce a bullet around the cover and hit them. Seriously. And that's just one mechanic. Weapons will always have abilities like tracer bullets, chargeable shotgun bullets for more damage and distance, and there will also be a large variety of weapon types. On top of all that, there will be mods for nearly every weapon, allowing you to combine abilities and upgrades for the ultimate gear. Another part of the gameplay is the parkour-like movement. You have two mantis blades attached to your arms like we see in the first trailer, which you can use to climb walls, which you can then wall run from or hang from that same wall. For anyone who's played Dying Light, you will know how awesome parkour feels in first person. Cyberpunk 2077 looks to continue and adapt this trend. From the wall, you could sneakily drop on an enemy, get to new areas, or move around locations faster. All of this will also benefit from the first person view because the camera won't get in the way and it will feel much more real and fluid. While in combat, there's a sliding mechanic that allows you to dodge attacks and also slide into cover, which there's also a mechanic for. When fighting enemies, the damage you're doing will pop up on the screen, and it'll take quite a few bullets to kill them. Think of what it's like to shoot enemies in the Division, and that style is the same here. A single headshot will do critical damage, but will not always be a one-hit kill. It's an RPG first and foremost. Something I realized is that when we like a certain type of gameplay style and we know a developer makes that style well, we always hope they continue with that same formula, just adding innovation. However, I think we're not giving CD Projekt Red enough credit. If there's any company that can implement this big of a transformation and do it in a way that is not only satisfying, but that will blow our minds, they're the ones that can do it. Rather than worrying now and attacking them for changing, I think we owe it to them after all they've done for us in the past to give them trust and the benefit of the doubt. They know what they're doing, and they're some of the most talented people in the industry. If anyone can make an epic game, CD Projekt Red can. And from what I can tell, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a game that redefines genres and takes over the gaming industry. But of course, that's just my opinion, and I'd like to pass the discussion off to you. What do you guys think about the changes in Cyberpunk 2077? Does this video change your opinion at all, or do you still think that going first person is a terrible idea? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, did you agree or disagree with anything I said, or is there anything you'd like to add to the post? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And whether you're new to the community or not, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of all my future videos. And don't forget to give that like button some love. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's continue creating the greatest community in the world. I'll see all you guys in the next video.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues, sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else. It's a city of dreams, and I'm a big dreamer.